We are about to watch the Supergirl trailer.
All right, I'm ready.
Are
I'm
you?
excited. And this is going to be interesting.
God.
I feel like DC movies are terrible at putting people through the ringer, characters through the ringer, and making them likable.
I just love crypto so much.
Is this John Wick?
Oh, no, 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 no. No. Well, I'm in because Supergirl going full John Wick on these people is fine by me.
Oh, dang. Eh, I still hate Lobo so much.
But it's so good.
First, I'm gonna get revenge.
I mm, oh,
Oh, crypto's got you. Eh.
okay, okay. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. All right. I wasn't sure. So I actually genuinely liked him as Aquaman.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not know how I felt about him being not Aquaman. Um, I also think that if I hadn't seen Momoa in C and in Dune, I would be super worried about typecasting because this is Khal Drago, but drunk.
I mean, there's no character he plays who isn't a little broy. And
Yeah.
so to me, like if there was any character I would not be afraid of him playing or I would not be concerned at all about him playing, it's Lobo.
Lobo.
If
Yeah.
anything, like he's almost highbrow for that role. So to me, he's,
Yeah.
kind of perfect
Because
for it.
he's so capable. He is deeply capable of a lot of depth as an actor. And so, yeah, we, like I said, we saw it on Game of Thrones. We saw it in, if you watch See, that character is such a great character. That is a once in a lifetime character he played on that show. Him in Dune was such a great character. Um, so yeah, him as Lobo is actually, I hate it, but I hate it in that it means we lost Aquaman, but I kind of love it because it's kind of perfect casting, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Um, I had not watched the trailer at all before we got on, so I had no idea that these mofos hurt crypto, and I am like, kill everybody. Huh?
Well, it's kind of the perfect. Like I said, I feel like every trailer up to this point has got this sort of very dour Supergirl, which, I am here for in the comic books. Like I enjoyed the arc, during the New 52 that kind of threw her into this sort of like it did what had been done a few other times, but I felt really well. Like New 52 didn't do a lot of great things, but I felt like getting into the heart of Supergirl's anger and when she becomes a Red Lantern, like there's and Lobo's participation in those early stories, all of that I think was one of the more interesting arcs for Supergirl, and so putting that into kind of movie form, borrowing at least heavily from it, seems like a good idea. But like it's also, how do you give me a character and make me want to root for this character? So it feels like a little like, I'm about to help a bunch of people who are going to suffer, and that will teach me my life lessons. And I'm fine with that because, it's a superhero movie. But, I think that the tricky part is, how do you make Supergirl kind of like different from Superman? How do you make her, and then how do you make a character who's like very angry, very upset? How do you portray that? How do you get that right without screwing it up, which is done a lot with female characters, I feel. And still have people root for her, because she's cool, but also they spend a lot of time shooting her in ways that are like, look how cool Supergirl is, she doesn't have a care in the world. Like we can do better, and I really hope that this is better. This trailer gives me at least, I mean, who doesn't love a, a girl and her dog, a boy and his dog?
Yeah.
It's the perfect story.
Will say that when there was something you said about the New 52, knowing that we're getting the Green Lantern TV series, knowing that Kara becomes a Red Lantern, I am wondering if this is going to already start seeding Darkest Night,
I don't know. That would
which,
be, it would require an amount of forethought that I don't think DC has ever had, in
well,
their live properties.
that's one of the things, like I will say, with them bringing Gunn on to head all of this,
Hmm.
that could possibly be one of the things, because I would be fine with that. If this built up to Brightest Day, Darkest Night,
Hmm.
slowly but surely, which is the other thing, the biggest thing with DC is that they keep trying to get to Avengers Endgame without the 10 years before Avengers Endgame.
Right.
They
Well,
keep
it's
trying to
just.
go straight to that. And I'm like, no, you got to give us the steps, especially for people who've never read the comics like we have, who aren't people who I know every version of Kara. I remember when she died. I remember when the other Kara was walking, Power Girl was walking around, and there was the Superboy, I'm not Superman, the Spider-Man meme with those two characters. Like, which one of us is the real
Hmm.
one? I remember when she was basically kidnapped by Darkseid and brainwashed into being a Fury. I remember all of these things. So you can't just throw the characters there and go, okay, and now we're all going to team up. No, give us the steps to get there. I promise you, if it's done well, if it's well written, if it focuses on, but if the CGI and the fight scenes and the boom 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 is in service to the actual characters, if the characters lead and then all the other stuff comes in behind it, we will show up. There's a reason the first Aquaman movie did as well as it did, because it did the work. We'll show up. There's a reason why the first Wonder Woman was so good. And then
Ooh.
84 happened and we were like, oh. So, if you do the work, we will show up, because, like we were saying about the Masters of the Universe, we grew up with these characters.
Hmm.
Supergirl and Superboy felt like they were specifically targeted to me, as were the Titans. and the Teen Titans. And so like we grew up with a version, we grew up with those characters, you know? And Supergirl has a very complicated like relationship with Lobo. We also know that we're getting the Robins movie. I don't know if that's what it's going to be called, but I know that apparently we are getting Dick and Jason first, which thank you. Please do not just jump to Damian because you got to do the first two and why he is the way he is, why Bruce is the way he is. And so she has a really complicated relationship with Jason in the comics. Um, so yeah, I'm like, give us that because the casting is great. I
Hmm.
really like Millie Alcock. She's phenomenal on House of the Dragon. She's so good on House of the Dragon that a show I did not want to watch because I was so angry at the way Game of Thrones ended. I had no desire to watch it. And then I started watching it because everybody was like, no, but really, it's that good. And I started watching it. And she's so phenomenal on that show that I was like, God damn it. Um, you drew me back in. She's great casting for this character. She gets that character's vulnerability. Kara saw Clark never had to deal with actually seeing his world destroyed. And that is one of the fundamental differences between the two characters. Clark was an actual infant when this went down. Kara watched. She saw it. And that is something you can never unsee something like that. You can never that psychological damage does not ever go away.
Hmm.
Uh and I think if they lean into that while also having her have her humor, we might have something here. We might be cooking.
I agree. It's like we said earlier about Masters of the Universe. I'm cautiously optimistic. Look, I just want, we could talk for hours about how Batman should be handled because I honestly think you can't do anything if you don't invest in a TV series. I'm going to talk about it. Unless you invest in a TV series that like is high budget and has a lot of, room to tell the arc of Batman, you're never going to be able to do it in movies. So it's tricky. It won't be you won't be able to successfully tell those stories. You can't have but one Robin if you do it in movies. You can't have but three villains tops before you have to reboot again.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, as a as with Supergirl, I feel like Supergirl has occupied this really interesting space in that she is, sort of has always been sort of a mid-tier, character. Sometimes she has a book, sometimes she doesn't.
Mhm.
Sometimes she's really on the, on people's radar. Sometimes she's really not. Like, but she's so powerful that
Yeah.
you can't really do anything with her except get her off world when something big is about to happen to the earth, because when you have Superman and then, oh yeah, another Superman who is in many ways cares way more capable than Clark, and it's shown
Yeah.
many times, that fact. So a lot of times you have to get her off world, you have to do something, and the result is that you have to do something interesting with her. So to me, she's a character who has been able to do a lot of different things and go in a lot of different directions, because the only way to sort of make Superman shine is to send her someplace where, he doesn't have, 100% backup,
Yeah.
and so I think the end result has been, maybe unintentionally, but has been that Supergirl's had some really iconic stories, has been really interesting, has been really fun, and has been portrayed in a lot of different ways. And so you almost can't do wrong as long as you make a compelling character in any way, shape, or form.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I really do. I have always loved every variation of Kara. I love Power Girl. I love Supergirl. I liked even when she was a Fury. I kind of liked her. Um, and I really hope that she's done justice because I feel like the TV series almost had it. It almost had it, and then, as with every Berlanti show, The first two seasons were hype, and then after those first two seasons, it all went to crap. Like
Hmm.
every single show he's ever touched. And so I am hoping for the best. I really hope we get this, they get it right and they build on it because I want to see her relationships, not just with Clark. I want to see her interact with Connor. I want to see her interact with Lex. I want to see her relationship with Lena Luthor. I want to see her relationship with Guy, even though I hate the casting of Guy, and I will never stop saying how much I hate the casting of Guy. Um, there's so many characters that she has really deep ties to in this universe that are not Superman based. She's one of the members of the Superman family who's actually the least connected to Clark and Lois and actually has way more friends and allies and along like if you really stop and think about it. And I need to see that on screen. So fingers crossed, guys. Uh yeah, give us our thing. We need it. Okay. All right. On that note, you can find us at PC Uncovered on Threads and Instagram, popcultureuncovered.com, Pop Culture Uncovered on Facebook and Patreon and YouTube. There is a few new reviews of Lena Waithe's new play that premiered at the Baltimore Center Stage. Pete was at Chicago Comic Con and
Oh
Emerald City
yeah,
Comic Con.
C2E2. We're gonna talk about that.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about Emerald City Comic Con. We're going to be talking about Chicago Comic Con. We have a lot of new content coming out. We have still have a ton of stuff from Awesome Con. We haven't even gotten all that stuff up yet. So, get on over there because our YouTube and our website and our Patreon are popping, baby. And we will see you guys on the rebound. Hopefully, we will see you at Baltimore Comic Con. Peace.